Hello guys and welcome to 5.11 patch notes recap, patch recap. And yeah, if you're new to the format, I basically just go over all the changes. I have this super nice what do you say, partnership with Blues Ultra. He does all the infographics from Smite, from like the whole pro scene to the update notes, etc. So he provides me with this super awesome infographic. And then, yeah, we can pretty much use that as a nice little graphical element. And I'm going to go over all the changes now. This is quite a big patch, actually. First of all, there's been a bunch of like updates, bug fixes, because they broke like the game with a backend issue, and now they fixed it. And this flies in my room and is a bit tilting. So if you see me lash out after a random fly, that's because that's there. All right, so basically the first god that got buffed is pretty much Apollo. Now Apollo got like his knockback back on his ult, so now Apollo actually knocks up people when he lands, and he had that before and it got nerfed and now they put it back on. I think that's fine. I think Apollo is definitely out of the meta right now, and I think it's fine to add some diversity to the Honda guard pool, whereas we see the same kind of 3 or 4 hunters every game, which is like the Chernobog right now, the Rama, the Artemis, and like Hachiman, right? Those are kind of the only hunters, like Jingwei as well, but there's so many hunters and a lot of them are not really viable, so I really like this change. The next guard that got buffed was Wilix. So basically they increased the stray speed on Zuko by changing hard cap and movement speed from 175 to 225. Now you could barely like strafe on a Wilix thing before, like when you tried to move to the side on the Zuko, it was rough, man. So they updated ability description to show this as speed cap, not percent reduction of speed. And then the gravity searcher ult, they just reduced the cooldown. Before it was 90 seconds flat, now it goes 90 to 70 seconds. So I think this is gonna make a Willis a lot better, like late game. And I honestly think it's a pretty good change in my opinion. Like, she kind of needed it. She's this super strong early guard that just falls off so hard, in my opinion. Another guard that got a huge buff this patch was Kepri. First of all, his passive got an increased radius from 30 to 40. That's really good. And the big thing here is Abduct, which is Kepri's 1. Now he gains 15 to 30 magical and physical protection while holding an enemy guard he hit with Abduct. So now when Kepri's gonna pull people, he's gonna have more protection, which means he can be played more as a frontline guardian, whereas before you kind of wanted to play back, that you solely now initiate. So he's gonna have a better time pulling people now. I think that's fine. Capri's good. I'm curious if this is gonna bring him back into the meta, like as he was at like season 3 Worlds, where he was just picked every single game. But yeah, we'll see. Another guard that got buffed was a guard that has been pretty OP for the majority of season 4. Basically, Osiris got a bit of a late game buff on his kit. His single strike now just does 20 more base damage at the level 5. It starts at the same, it's 60 at level 1, and then before it went 60, 105, 150, now it's 60, 110, 160. So it just increased 5 base damage. And then Lord of the Afterlife, which is his ult, has a decreased cooldown from 95 to 75 seconds. This might bring Osiris slightly back into the meta. I'm not sure though, because like Osiris still kind of lacks the same issues, right? Whereas before you would pick him to like dominate the lane. That doesn't really seem to be a thing anymore in season 5, with like Kukulin and Achilles just kind of smacking, even Archo. So maybe this is a comeback for the Osiris, the chop, but yeah, we'll see. Another guard that got buffed is Morrigan. They increased the movement speed on her 3. It's still the same at the level 5 when you have to put the 5th point into it, but instead of starting at 20% movement speed, it now goes 30 to 40, whereas before it went 20 to 40. So Morgan's going to be quite a bit faster in the early game. Tyr got a really significant buff this patch as well. Guard stance of this ability now disarm enemy guards for 1.5 seconds on Fearless. So Tyr's 1 is now a disarm. That's pretty OP. Guard stand damage is now separated from assault stance. And guard stand damage is increased from 40 to 240, from 70 to 270. And the assault stance is like unchanged, because the assault stand, it kind of hit you twice, right, with the damage. Whereas the guard stand only hit you once. So Tyr's going to be doing a lot more damage, and he's going to disarm you guys should expect to see Tyr come back into the meta. I think he's going to be really strong. Now moving on to the items that got buffed this patch, we first off saw a buff to Gladiator Shield. They just increased the physical power from 15 to 20 on it. I think Gladiator Shield is really strong, but however, we are in a meta right now where healing is so prevalent, and that also means anti-healing gets bought a lot, and Gladiator's big thing is the heal, honestly, on it. That's so good about it, and since anti-heal is such a big thing, I think that's fine. The main thing that us pro have been a bit concerned about is how it seems that if you want pressure on solo, you can just pick something like Cerberus or Archeo. Whereas I think there should be some kind of trade-off to having a Cerberus in the solo lane, and if he doesn't even have like a bad early game, what's the point? So instead of just straight up nerfing those guards, I think Kairos went with a bit more of a let's kind of indirectly buff some of the warriors and warrior items to make guardians a bit less dominant early on, because there needs to be some kind of trade-off. So they also buffed Void Shield. They just decreased the cost by 100 gold and increased the health from 100 to 150. So now it's 2,600, 150. I think this is going to be bought quite a bit now. It's a quite significant change. 50 extra health and 100 gold decrease is really, really good. So yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more of like even warriors jungles and solo that are just going to be hitting pretty hard, because those changes to those items are just giving them more power, right? Moving on to the guards that got nerfed, and you guys can kind of see the pattern here, right? This is like all the mage solo items and like healing things that are getting nerfed. So Afro's getting nerfed. They decreased the magical power scaling of the heal from 15 per tick to 12.5 per tick. So before it was 90 total, so now 75. Aphrodite was just hitting a bit too hard, I guess, compared to some of the other healers with her heal. So I think that's fine. I think Afro was super annoying. It still makes her like, she's not really any worse as kind of being stuck onto you and just healing you, but yeah. Ra is like literally the best he's ever been, so he's also getting nerfed. They just increased the cooldown. Before, his ult went from 70 seconds to 50 seconds, which I think is absolutely insane, but now it goes from 80 seconds to 60 seconds, so yeah. It's alright. I think Ra's ult, like being able to just cast it on like a 28-second cooldown late game was kind of really, really over the line. Even like 25 if you had Cronus Pendant. So bring it back up to 60, I think makes it a bit more fair. I still think Ra's really good, but this should bring him a bit more down on level with other guards. Xbalanque also got nerfed. The damage required to stack is now counted post mitigation. Before, when you hit someone, if you hit someone for 50, but the actual damage was 100, then you'd still get the 100 damage even though you only hit them for 50, because there was pre-mitigation, so now it's post-mitigation, which is really, really nice. I think Xbalanque had a way too easy time stacking his passive for what it gives, and now it becomes a bit harder and it kind of scales as the game progresses, right? They now adjusted buff bar icons to show difference between damage counter stacks and physical power buff stacks. And then his ult got an increased cooldown from 90 to 110 seconds. I think that's fine. Pretty much every global ult in the game has 110 seconds cooldown. Janus ult, Athena ult, all those kind of things. And I think Apollo ult as well, right? So giving Xbalanque the same cooldown, I think is fine, because his ult is really, really strong. Yeah. And to the items that got nerfed, basically the first nerf is going to be Breastplate. So Breastplate basically got increased cost from 500 to 600, and this means Silver Breastplate is also increased from 950 to 1050, and they decreased the height of the Nemean Lion Breastplate, Valor Spectral Armor by 100 gold to keep them the same price as previous patches. Now the reason why they actually nerfed Breastplate 1 is because before, if you're a Guardian in the solo lane, you could buy your Warrior's Blessing, you could buy Breastplate, and you could buy a Health Chalice, and that was really OP. So now you can actually buy your Health Chalice if you want to get the Breastplate. So it makes Guardians a bit weaker, definitely early on in the solo lane, which I think is definitely a good idea as well. Next item that got nerfed, well, kind of goes for both Rod of Asclepius and Rod of Healing. They decreased the health from 250 to 200 on the Rod of Asclepius. I don't know. Decreased movement speed from 10 to 7%, and on Rod of Healing decreased health from 150 to 100, and decreased movement speed from 7% to 5%. I think ass claps, as we like to call them in competitive environment, is like really, really strong. So I'm happy they nerfed it. It definitely gives a bit of a hit to the healers. I think one of the best thing about being a healer is that you get to buy this item, which is just insane in my opinion. So that's good. Good nerfs overall. And then Shaman's Ring, damage required to stack this item is now counted post mitigation. So that's kind of the same thing as it was with the Shibbolongi's passive. It's pretty stupid. That wasn't like that before. Now going on to the only guard that actually got a tweak, EmilZy Bees, which is a passive, no longer disarms enemies. However, they increased the attack speed buff from before it was 110 to 30, and now it's 10 to 40%, and increased the movement speed before it was 5 to 25, now it's 10 to 30. So EmilZy is going to be a lot faster and going to hit a lot harder or faster. He's just faster, but he loses his passive. Well, he doesn't, but it doesn't disarm. So I think it kind of makes up in the 1v1 scenario, because you don't have to disarm now, but like, you know, at least you have a bit more movement speed and a bit more attack speed to dig around. So it's going to be even harder to kill EmilZy, and he's going to be even better like late game in my opinion. So yeah, EmilZy, I think it's a bit of a buff, but we'll see. I think it's okay as long as you don't get EmilZy back into that meta he was in like pre-Worlds, where you just built Hided Urchin on him, and that's not fun at all. Moving on to Baron Samedi, which is basically the new god in Smite. So Baron Samedi is the god of life and death. I'm pretty sure he's like a voodoo kind of god. Yeah, he's a voodoo god. And he's a pretty interesting god. Now, his passive Hysteria is basically, I'm just going to read all of this out and I'll give my opinion on it. Baron shares Baron's Brew, a powerful restorative chalice which is allies in the item shop. Enemies hit by Baron will have Hysteria applied to them. Baron's abilities interact with Hysteria to provide bonus effects. Targeted max Hysteria take 25% additional damage from Baron Samedi. So it's kind of like a Suket poison effect, and then you get a chalice. And Baron's Brew costs 150 gold, and it heals 140 health and 100 mana over 20 seconds. And it's a free chart style consumable. So that's really damn good, man. Like, imagine you're soul laner and you kind of buy health chalice, then you can buy Baron's Brew. It's cheaper, and it just gives like pretty goddamn good stats, right? It's like a multi-pot, but it's pretty much like a multi-pot, a bit better, and it's a lot faster because it's 20 seconds. And now the other part of his passive, which is Hysteria. Baron applies 2 Hysteria per basic attack. Each ability applies a unique amount of Hysteria. All of his abilities have a near effect on enemies with 30 Hysteria. All of his abilities deal more damage if the target has 70 max Hysteria. Alright, so that's pretty much Hysteria. I'm not sure like how long it takes until the Hysteria kind of goes off you, or if it just stays there permanently. I'd reckon it goes out after like 5 seconds or something, Hysteria. We'll see though, might be 15 seconds, I don't know. Baron Samedi's first ability is going to be called Vivid Gaze. Baron Samedi animates 2 skulls, both which briefly charge before firing beams of voodoo magic that damage enemies. The beams meet at crossroads of Baron Samedi's choosing. Enemies hit by both beams take 15% damage on the second hit. If the enemy guard is hit above 30 Hysteria, their physical power, magical power, and attack speed are reduced. The damage is 90 to 290 plus 60% of the magical power. The power reduction is 30%. The attack speed reduction is also 30%. And the Hysteria per beam is 10 up to 20. And the mana cost is 55 to 75, cooldown 9 seconds. So this is like this beam. I don't know how to animate it. Let's use my my pen and my cable. So you have this beam, and the closer, like if I want to hit my microphone here, and I'm really close, the beam kind of goes like this. But if I'm long range, the beams kind of cross over like this. So it's like this cross kind of effect that you get. It looks pretty cool. You guys should definitely play him and check that out. I think this is pretty goddamn strong ability. It's like a weird version of Janus 2, I guess is the best way to describe it, where you can kind of angle it, where it like goes whoosh, crosses over. I think it's pretty cool ability. I'm a bit scared about the cooldown perhaps being too low, because it actually does apply quite a bit of Hysteria, which seems to be the big thing about this card. Consigned Spirit is Baron Samedi's 2. I like, this is pretty much like Neve's 2, but it just heals your whole team, and it does like a lot of things besides Neve's heal. So Baron Samedi guides restless spirits to the ground and buries them. After a brief delay, the ground erupts, damaging enemies standing in the area. If an enemy guard is hit, friendly spirits fly from the area and heal allies near the explosion, or buys Baron Samedi. If the enemy guard hit is above 30 Hysteria, Defending Spirit cleanses slows, makes allies immune to slows, and increases their movement speed. So the damage goes 70 to 290 plus 70% in magical power, and the flat heal is 40 to 140 plus 10% in magical power. Missing health heal is 15%, and movement speed increase is 20 to 40%. That's pretty significant. That's a lot. And then Hysteria per hit is 20, mana cost 75, cooldown starts at 15, goes down to 11. So it's this Neve-like ability, and if they have a lot of Hysteria on them, like you get all kinds of things, and it heals for your allies, and seems really strong, Hi-Res. Seems really strong. This card might be a bit too strong, but yeah. Wrap it up. Pretty good name. That's Baron Samedi's third ability. Baron Samedi throws a snake forward, wrapping an enemy guard hit and dealing damage every 0.5 seconds for 4 seconds, so it hit 8 times, right? And slowing them until they're rooted. If a guard hit is above 30 Hysteria, the snake will also lash out at enemy guards who are nearby, close after 1 second. Enemies hit by these are injected with venom that slows them until they're rooted and deals the same damage, but instantly rather than over 4 seconds. Damage per tick 10 to 42 plus 5% in magical power. The slow duration is 1.75 seconds. The root duration is 0.075. Hysteria per tick is 5, so it goes up to 40. And the mana cost is 60 to 80, and the cooldown is 12 seconds. Now this card has really low cooldowns and really good abilities. So if you have more Hysteria, you kind of cast it on them, and they get this little Discordia apple effect on them. And it's way smaller than the Discordia apple. It's like 10 units or something, 15 units I think. But if you walk into that, while one of your allies is hit by that, you kind of get insta-goofed. You take a lot of damage, you get rooted. Seems like a really strong ability. Slows, roots in an AoE. Pretty good, pretty good. Life of the party. Now this is Baron Samedi's ult. It's pretty sick. Baron Samedi pulls the souls of the living towards his coffin, becoming CC immune and taking 50% reduced damage. Enemy guards within range are pulled towards the coffin and take damage every 0.33 second. When an enemy guards get too close to the coffin, their soul is ripped out, causing them to be stunned, take a large amount of damage based on total health, and gain max Hysteria. This ability persists for 3.5 seconds until an enemy guard is pulled to the coffin. If targets being pulled are above 30 Hysteria, the pulse rank is increased on them. The damage per tick goes 17 to 45, and the damage on coffin goes 140 to 240. The total health damage is 15%, the stun duration 2 seconds. That's really long. Hysteria per tick is 8 up to 80, and the mana cost goes 70 to 90, cooldown 90 seconds. It's this Hades ult that's like a cone ability, and it just sucks you in. It's pretty goddamn cool. Now the scary thing about this is he's CC immune, and it takes 50% reduced damage. So one thing I could see happening is that, let's say your team wants to do FG and you're just kind of trying to take it before the enemy team comes in. You just set up Baron Samedi's ult, you know, in like the corridor when people are gonna run in. And like, oh yeah, that's a Baron Samedi. I'm out. I can't kill him. He has 50% mitigations. That's absolutely insane. It's insane, man. All those new guards have so much mitigation. So really, really, really cool concept by Hi-Res. I think this is refreshing, to say the least, because we had some pretty meh guards, and I think Baron Samedi is definitely up there as one. Big Fly is back for the end of the video, of course. We've had some meh guards, and Baron Samedi seems super cool. I haven't played him yet, but shit, Fly. Yeah. All right, just to finish off here, you guys always like, oh, what are in the new events? So let me go real fast and. Basically, oh yeah, also there's a ton of bug fixes on like audio, spectator, console, items are being fixed, just a lot of like fixes, and no new things in chest it seems. Oh, actually new cosmetics, there's a Voodoo loading frame, Voodoo recall skin, Voodoo global emote, Raw America announcer pack, Constable Moose Jaw announcer pack, awesome chest. New additions to the awesome chest are Itty Bitty Chibi Amusen Cup, Elegant Nemesis, Orbital Scout Artemis, Sky Tech Zeus, Dark Matter Capri. To the godlike chest, they got Kawaii Pop Bastet, Fire Dance Shablonki, and Life's a Beach Jep. Or Gep, not Jep, Gep. Fantasy Point Store, the new additions to that is Crocodile Sobek, Baywatch Kukulin, and Shaolin Monkey Honbats. That's it, man. And then there's new skins in the Divine Uprising event, so go and buy those skins and support the World Championship prize pool. We love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this patch recap. think it's a pretty goddamn good patch, not gonna lie. Things are starting to look better, finally. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and press the bell. And I'll see you next time, everyone. Peace out.